Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, another day, another big update in the sport of boxing. Before I start, as ever, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I wanted to talk today about Virgil Ortiz against John Boots Ennis because that is a fight that a lot of people have been wanting for. Promoter Eddie Hearn has been calling for that fight, as has Virgil Ortiz's camp, John Boots Ennis' camp as well. And I think it's a typical play of how um boxing, that despite the best efforts of both fighters, um, a deal can't get done. You've got Boots Ennis who wants to fight, you've got Virgil Ortiz who wants to fight as well. But the situation is sort of being kept out of their hands, and it's being played out in a courtroom. And it's just very unfortunate, and it seems to be more and more prevalent in a case, and you sort of get to understand why a little bit when things like this happen. I mean, a similar thing with Diego Pacheco and Hamza Shiraz, where Shiraz wanted to fight, but Pacheco put out a purse bids, and it just goes to show, like, there's just a lot of factors at play which basically end up in fights not happening. And the reason for this fight in particular is because of Golden Boys' fractured relationship with the Zone, a broadcaster. Their agreement sort of went um their agreement ended on the 31st of December of last year. But and so Ortiz sort of, and his lawyers were sort of arguing that, um a big proponent of why I guess Virgil T signed with Golden Boy is to feature on the Zone, and now because that is not happening anymore, they have reasons to dismiss on those grounds. A judge ruled that instead of it going through the courts, that it has to be settled privately, which is in the favor of Golden Boy, and inevitably means that that fight might not happen, which is it's a real shame. So it's now pending arbitration. Both sides must file a joint status report by September 2nd, 2026, or shortly after the arbitrator's decision. This is according to boxing scene, and it's a little bit sad that this is how a fighter's relationship could end. I mean, a similar thing happened with Canelo Alvarez and Golden Boy as well, where there was a relationship with the Zone, and um, inevitably that sort of fractured as well, and Canelo ended up um, leaving Golden Boy because of that fractured relationship. And also the Zone tried to renege on their contract as well. It all got a little bit sticky. So this isn't the first time Oscar De La Hoya has been what's the word, has been quite distant with the Zone. For Virgil Ortiz, it essentially means that his career is brought to a halt. For Jerome Boots Ennis, he can still, still some very big fights out there for him. You've got the Josh Kelly fight, which at the Stadium of Light would make him a lot of money, no doubt. And I think Matchroom would have to pay him. I guess there's incentive on both sides, right? Matchroom can sell out the Stadium Light for Josh Kelly. John Boots Ennis gets a crack at the world title against Josh Kelly. Is Josh Kelly better than Virgil Ortiz? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Which might favor um, Virgil. I mean, Ortiz, since that fight against Lima, has been waiting for this lawsuit law case to finally end, so that he can fight um Ortiz, but it hasn't, and it's come to this, which is highly unfortunate. But I would love, we'll finish with this, I would love to see Ennis fight Josh Kelly at the Stadium Light. I think that's a mega fight, and I think it'd put a lot of bums in seats. And obviously, it's a World Cup year, um, and Sunderland is football mad itself, so emotions will be high for that. And then going to the Stadium of Light, I think the atmosphere would just be great. And or could fight Conor Ben. That'd be interesting. But anyway, he's got to take care of Regis Prograis. Another sort of new story that I found, again involving Oscar De La Hoya, is that he's agreed a deal with a linear TV sort of partnership called Swerve TV. This was done previously, I think, at the end of January. But the deal basically includes live coverage of Golden Boys' undercard bouts. Some of the undercards will be featured on Golden Boys, so could there be a longer term relationship there at play? Um, I think they'll feature original studio shows, athlete focused programs, behind the scenes documentaries, and other formats. I guess it's similar to what Frank Warren did with Box Nation, so that could be maybe an option for Golden Boy to go with Swerve. I doubt that happened, but I just thought it was a new story that was quite interesting. And then also this week, it's gone a little bit under the radar in boxing, but I guess it's been overshadowed by obviously Conor Ben leaving and Frank Warren suing Zuffa. But Brandon Glanton will face Jai Patai for Zuffa's first contested belt, which will be in the cruiserweight division. What's remained to be seen is that Jaya Pataya is the IBF cruiserweight champion, I believe, and there's not been an announcement made on that, and it is fight week. So what happens with his IBF cruiserweight title? Does it just get relinquished automatically? Is he fighting for that as well as the cruiserweight title? God knows. But that should be a good fight. From what I've seen on social media, they are trying to build Opetire. I mean, he's been doing some partnership stuff with an American football team, I think the Raiders out in the US. So they're trying to make him that star, trying to tap into his sort of Australian um, sort of thing, and maybe try and make him a star over there as well by making him big in America. But I guess there's a lot of potential for them to do that, and Glanton's coming off that win, I think, against Marcus Brown in Nigeria. So he believes he's confident, and I've seen on his Instagram he's training hard as well. So um yeah, interesting. Is that fight I'm just gonna see if that fight is being held at the Apex Arena. Uh Brandon Glanton, Jai. Um uh, what's the location? Yeah, it's being held at the Meta Apex in Las Vegas. I mean, again, that's something that's interesting as well, because surely they could have found a more sold out venue. Are they looking to really fill? I mean, sorry, extend the Apex Arena so that they can get more bums and seats. They, there's a lot of unanswered questions, but yeah, I thought there'd be a lot more. It'd take place at a venue where there'd be a lot more people in there, but evidently not. And then just final couple, Eubank Jr. is in talks to face Edgar Berlanga. That's just been announced. Um, I like that fight. I think it's a fight where I guess it's a good comeback fight for either or. And for Eubank, if he falls short against Berlanga, I mean, two losses in a row. Can he come back from that? It'll be very hard to. Edgar Berlanga again coming off Hamza Shiraz. That defeat, two wins in a row, would really dent his sort of progress in the sport. So I guess there's a lot of heart. Both have a lot of incentives, um, and I think it'd sell quite big. I mean, Berlanga wants that fight in London, maybe at the O2 Arena. I think both of them could easily sell that out. I mean, they both have the gift of the gab, as some would say, and they're both able to speak and sell themselves in a way that, um, you know, Eubank is a type of guy to sort of get a casual someone to tune into that fight against Berlanga. He has that sort of pulling power, and Berlanga can speak as well. He'll have a lot of those American fans. So big fights in the UK is what we want to see, and this would be a great fight. Tyson Fury against Makhmudov, the undercard has just been announced, and it's a great undercard. Chief support is Regis Prograis against Conor Benn, as mentioned. Then you got Jamie TKV taking on Richard Riakporhe for his British title. Richard Riakporhe fell short against who is it? Chris Smith in the cruiserweight division. So yeah, he gets a shot. He fought on the undercard of Eubank Ben against Tommy Tommy Welch. Managed to get rid of him quite comfortably in impressive fashion. You got Mikey Talon on the undercard too. Who else? Let's have a look. Fury v Makhmudov undercard. Let's just get the full list of the on the card. Who've we got? Fraser Clark and Justice Hooney. How could I forget? Again, Fraser Clark coming off a loss, Justice Hooney coming off a loss. I love cards like this because it means that they're both fighting for something, and it's they're gonna put their balls on the line. Fraser Clark, this could be a last chance saloon for him to sort of resurrect his career. He's coming off losses against Fabio Wally. No harm in losing to Fabio Wally. Look what he's achieved. But then in his most recent fight against TKV, I think Johnny Fisher. This is the fight that Johnny Fisher was supposed to fight. He was offered a lot of money, but turned it down because just basically said he wasn't ready enough. And then Troy Williamson returns. He fought in December against Callum Simpson. Managed to produce a very impressive display against Callum Simpson, but there was a rematch clause in that fight, but they're not fighting, which is surprising. Maybe Simpson's picked up an injury or just choosing to go down a different route because Williamson is a very tricky operator. He's facing someone I've not heard of, to be honest. But it's a very strong undercard and a main event. And what's also interesting, a lot of interesting stuff, is that this fight will be promoted by Zuffa Boxing. Frank Warren was on Tyson Fury's sort of on the table, but Queensberry Promotions weren't on the promotional sort of poster. So yeah, I mean, we could see Fury sign for Zuffa, and I think if Fury signs for Zuffa, I mean, where does that leave? Where does that leave Queens? Where does it leave Queensberry? I mean, their biggest asset is gone. Tyson Fury is their biggest asset, and if he signed to Zuffa, who knows? And Conor Ben as well. Interesting times, but anyway, I think that's a lot.